We're going to keep this train moving right along. Our next lesson is all about taking your brew to the masses. Let's hear what our experts have to say.
My advice for the up-and-coming home brewer that is A, be careful because it's addicting and it's fun and you get to be creative, and I think that's why everyone wants to start home brewing, is because they want to make a beer that is the best. And you keep good notes and you keep it clean, and don't be afraid to reach out and email other home brewers. There's so much available information online. It's hard to screw up a home brew, but you do need to. I call him Sensei, Charlie Papazian. He's the one that wrote The New Complete Joy of Home Brewing, and he's kind of the man when it comes to home brewing. He's my sensei, and he says it all. He says relax, enjoy, and have a home brew, and that's what it takes. You can geek out as hard as you want, but you have to have fun. In order to have fun, you got to just relax and go through your brew day, have a beer.
There are so many good resources out there right now. I know it's like tempting for a lot of people, like, you know, you want to go straight to the horse's mouth, but you don't gain things through just like, it's not bothering people, but like just through like YouTube. Like people just need to spend like 10 minutes on the internet and they can learn more about brewing than like people could have, you know, pre-internet. Like it's wild right now how much information is out there, because the websites like Pro Brewer, that's more suited towards people in the profession, but like people looking to open breweries, we'll get a fair number of questions pretty regularly from people, and half of the answers to their half of the questions they ask, all the answers are already on the internet, and they just need to look for it. So I'm not against people contacting us with questions. Like I don't mind helping people out, because people certainly helped us out. But half the questions are out there. And then for like homebrewers, YouTube is an amazing resource. I learned a lot from the Brewing Network, which is an internet radio station run out of Northern California. And there's so many great books from the Brewers Association and their subset, the American Homebrewers Association. They just, I think they just wrapped up a series of books on like all kind of the basic ingredients of the brewing process. That is just an unbelievable resource. Like I'm still working my way through it and then learning a ton from it. And so they have a yeast book, they have a water book, they have a hops book, and they recently released a malt book. Just like almost everything you'd ever want to know about all that stuff. Even from a pro's perspective, there's some things that still need to get flushed out, but it's such a good resource. And the easiest place though to start for homebrewers is How to Brew, and if you don't, from John Palmer, and if you can't get all your way through that without having all your questions answered, then like congratulations. Because it is a very intense book and should be able to answer almost everything you have. One more book that really got me started on moving in the direction of becoming a professional was Brewing Classic Styles. It's written by Jamil Zainasheff and John Palmer. So John Palmer of How to Brew and Jamil Zainasheff of the Brewers Association's yeast book, as well as the head brewer at Heretic Brewing and the owner there. It's just fantastic recipes. Jamil's the most winning home brewer ever, and every single recipe in there has won an award at the national level of the AHA competition. So it's like you can take this one book with a recipe in every single style category that was out when that book was published, and have a recipe that, if you can follow that recipe, is going to replicate a beer, an award-winning beer. So he's now given you all of the, all of the tools as far as ingredients go. Now you have to focus on process. So that was a big thing for me, was focusing on process control. And still a big thing here is focusing on process control, because recipes are, as long as you got good ingredients and they're mixed in reasonably correct proportions, you're gonna make at least a decent beer. Beyond that, it's controlling your process and good fermentation.
So guys, yeah, I want to talk about like role models, influences, getting into brewing and stuff. Like who are some guys or chicks that kind of like influenced you to get into the brew process? You know what I
Guys
mean?
or chicks?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, are there like well-known like chick brewers, or is it mostly like a guy kind of thing?
I'm gonna say Heather Locklear.
Yeah.
Had a Sierra Nevada Pale Ale clone in my front yard. This was like
Oh, you're not
maybe
kidding.
like 1992. It's
Okay.
whenever Melrose Place was like
Oh yeah.
peaking.
Yeah.
Foggy day on the Strand in Hermosa. Rollerblader coming from north to south, all black, but like some fluorescent yellow highlights on all the hardware that she was wearing.
Yeah.
So we flagged her over for a beer, and it happened to be Heather Locklear.
Oh wow.
And so
Like you.
I was like, "Can I pour you a beer?" She's like, "Hell yeah." Put a beer in her hand. I was like, just hop up and sit on the wall, get off the Strand. Otherwise you're drinking in public, but this is private property on the wall. So she sits on the wall, pour a beer. She's like, "Wow, this is pretty good." My maybe he was starstruck, I don't know, but my friend was like, "Oh my God, Heather, I absolutely love you in the Fall Guy." She's like, beer to the face.
Oh.
That was Heather Thomas, you asshole. She skates off, and we're like,
That's amazing, dude. That's
she was
amazing.
inspirational though. For sure.
Yeah. Why was that inspirational? You're like
Because I
wanna
kept
create-
making beer, hoping she would skate by again, and drinking in the front yard.
There you go. There you go. No, but I mean, what are some of like the grandfathers of brewing? Jack Palmer, is he
John Palmer?
John Palmer. There you go. John Jack, you know. John Palmer. What's he all about?
Great information. Bayesian, obviously. I think I told you earlier, I call him sensei.
Oh, yeah, that's
he
right.
is
Yeah.
my sensei. 'Cause-
So you had cinnamon to all your beers?
What?
Was that his thing? He added cinnamon.
Yeah, he's got all these crazy theories on preventing oxidation. Or no, what is it? Or adding oxidation, and like he's one of the people that kind of like got the olive oil and like all these crazy things going.
Right.
Yeah, it's just curious because I mean the guy, he knows his chemistry, but it's just like
New Belgium
what?
did that study they
Yeah.
published, and it's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
Olive oil.
What's the study? He added olive oil to his brew?
Rather than oxygenating your beer, you can use olive oil for some sort of a, I don't know. It's a technical paper.
Yeah.
We're just doing a round table.
Yeah, no,
Very
totally. Yeah, don't blow my mind here.
it's sufficient for you guys to just pour wort into a bucket and go like this.
Just shake it.
Oh man, that was really a struggle for us in the early days.
What's that?
Oxygenation.
Oh yeah. How come?
There's like a million different ways to get oxygen into wort, and there are some ways to guarantee that you can't go over a certain limit. Like if you just sort of pour wort into the tank from like high up, you're always going to hit a certain ppm level, parts per million. But if you're adding pure oxygen, you can hit stupid levels of oxygen, and you can fry the wort, you'll fry out your yeast, you won't get good generations, like
Or you
get bad
can make
fermentation.
just ridiculous amounts of propagation because all they want to do is just multiply.
Yeah, it's just it becomes a yeast fuck fest. So they sex themselves to death with high oxygen, and so that was something that we struggled with for a while. But we did get an oxygen meter initially, and it was just like we're just sitting on the wort, like stirring it to get oxygen to come out of solution, because like our meter only went up to 20 ppm. We want to hit 9 ppm, and we were probably somewhere around 35, 40.
Just off the scale.
Yeah, and then we had a Venturi for a while, and we
We
couldn't
almost
get
went that direction.
Oh god, we just at our type of scale and our runoff method, like we can't hit the right GPM to get it to work properly. So it wasn't pulling oxygen in; it was just bubbling, and then it just go right out the top. It's stupid. So then we switched to an inline stone, and then that's when we're hitting like 30, 45 ppm. And now we can't get our flow meter to go low enough to actually be able to oxygenate correctly.
On your O2 tank?
It's a 10 LPM scale, and we need to be about like 0.6. So, yeah. Fun times.
So who else? Who else is like an influencer? Anybody else influence you guys to brew beer?
I mean, I'll rattle off, but
For me, it was Anchor and Sierra.
Okay.
Those were my two.
How come? Yeah, you were saying too?
they make fantastic beer. Like,
What's so good about their beer? Like what is different?
It's just solid. Like you call Anchor, the whole thing. Like if you call the brewery, it's on the recorded message about applying for a job. Like don't bother. They haven't hired in like 25 years.
Holy shit.
It's just
It's just like
and it's
people love working for Anchor. Like, it's such an old school brewery, and
it's
they
a
do
flagship brewery. You know?
I love how businesses like that are run, seeing how happy the employees are, how traditional they still maintain everything. It's super solid.
Well, it goes back to, being proud of your product, right? Your
Yeah.
reputation and stuff. And do you guys keep that in mind, like when you're making your brew, like
would Fritz do?
legendary
What would Fritz
status? You know what I mean? Like, is that your goal, or is it just kind of like, we want to brew a solid beer? Or do you guys like want to be legendary status? You know what I mean? Like
I think
going down the road.
Depends on the brewer.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't speak. I think everyone has their own philosophy on stuff, and like I think it's important to have a philosophy generally, because you're kind of just shooting in the dark. But like with our brewery and our beer, like I would love to do right by these British styles that have been typical of British brewing for the last 75 years, correct a lot of flaws in American understandings of British styles, and just kind of bring back great British beer to the U.S. So that has like a lot of ideas that go beyond the profitability of the business, like improving the quality of cask ale in Los Angeles, and in California and in the U.S. Like, so that's obviously going to help us sell cask ale, but that's not really profitable for us. Like, we don't have as high a throughput on that kind of thing, and we don't expect the bars to handle cask ale to have high throughput or necessarily stock our beer in cask. We want them to do well by cask produced by anyone.
Yeah. Okay. And how about you guys? Like, what's your kind of like end goal? You're brewing.
You need a one-on-one with each of the business partners.
There you go. Okay.
We all have a different personal goal.
Yeah.
So
But
I just want to see the cup get empty and someone decide out of the 80 taps to get ours again because they enjoyed it.
Yeah.
That's the satisfaction for me.
The question we get a lot is, why are we in a can? And Oscar Blues decided to do a can years ago, first craft brewery to do so, and they started breaking down the stigma that canned beer is your cheap, bottom of the barrel type of stuff.